Hi. Welcome to the Human Design for Marketing podcast. I'm your host, Yvette Mayer, and this show's for you if you're done with cookie cutter marketing and ready to build your personal brand in alignment with who you really are. Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome back to the Human Design for Marketing podcast after what has been a few months. It has been the longest I have ever gone without recording. My apologies, but I think you'll forgive me because I've been very busy living a super adventurous, freedom-filled life. And it's funny, it's almost like when you get out of the habit of doing something, it becomes a big deal to start again. And so I have felt some resistance, especially because if I go back a few months, well, not even a few months, I was traveling from June through to the end of August. Then when I got back in early September, within a couple of days, I got laryngitis. So I literally couldn't speak. And that lasted 3 long weeks, which was very frustrating, especially because I was trying to launch, and I did launch with laryngitis. Uh, amazing that all went actually well despite it. And what is it now? It's midway through October. So really it's just been the last couple of weeks that I have been like, I need to do this, and have been trying to find the time. And of course, then I went away in my van for the last couple of weeks. Now I realize why I haven't done this. I went away in my van. Yes, I could have recorded from an Airbnb, but I am finally home with my voice in my own environment, and now is the perfect time to have this conversation. Before I do, I want to thank you to all of you who have found my podcast in these last few months whilst I haven't been recording, because the amount of downloads is crazy. Not every week. Some weeks it dropped down to like 20 downloads, but there were weeks when I still had 400 downloads of the podcast, which, gosh, it really speaks to the value of this style of content, that it lives on for a super long time beyond when you create it. Now, segue, talking about content, I'm actually going to focus on GPTs. AI GPTs is the main topic of today, and also the rise of the beautiful marriage between human design marketing and custom GPTs. Because look, you'd have to be living under a rock not to have observed the amount of human design coaches, particularly marketing coaches, that have brought a GPT into their ecosystem. It is quite a thing now. It wasn't as big of a thing when I started doing this myself, like over 6 months ago now. And honestly, I was not first at all, but I have been doing this for quite a long time. And I thought it would be really cool for you to understand the genesis of how I began integrating AI into my work. Also, how I got over my resistance to AI, which I experienced and shared on the podcast a while back, along with the different GPTs I have, because I've had a couple of emails and people jumping into my DM lately saying, I own this one. I'm not sure if I need this one as well. How do they work? What is their different roles? So at the end of the episode, I'm going to share with you the ecosystem of GPTs that I've created and what each of them does, so that you get an idea for if you want to get your first access to your first product of mine that comes with a GPT, or you are considering expanding, and you'll get the clarity around the role of each of them and whether or not it's right for you. Now, before I do that, I will say I have a firm belief that when you make GPTs that are specific, that have a really defined role, they are far more valuable than trying to create one GPT that is your go-to mini you for your entire business. And the reason is, when we're building GPTs, we only get 8,000 characters and 10 files that we can upload. Now, I have learned to get creative with this personally, because, for instance, in sold out offers, which I'll talk to you all about, I created a course where there's a new instruction for all 6, soon to be 7 modules. And in each upload, it's like I've got another instruction page. So instead of just the major instructions that you feed your GPT, it's got like eight instructions. This probably won't make a whole lot of sense to you if you're not in this field yourself, like as in thinking about building your own AI tools. But I'm going to give you enough insight into how this has unfolded for me to maybe whet your appetite to do that, because it's not as complicated as you might believe. It's not easy, believe you me. And to create a good GPT, one that is differentiated, that speaks to your body of work, not just pulling generically from the internet, that takes time. And they're not something that you do once and then you set and forget. Because ChatGPT continually updates the back end of the system. And when it does that, things stop working. And so many times I've gone in to use one of my own GPTs and come across a glitch. And then it's taken me down a rabbit hole that maybe it's taken me half a day to actually clean it up. Uh, and so as a creator of GPTs, I've learned that I need to do a health check of them really regularly. And that's why they are valuable. Like they take a lot of my time and my IP to make them as good as they are. It's not an easy thing to do. So there you go. That's kind of a little bit of the context. So even though I'm talking about AI and GPTs today, I want to start with the genesis of my own adventure, which is me sitting in a coffee shop on a Saturday morning in Balmain, a little inner city town that I grew up in Sydney. It's 10 minutes from the city, a couple of kilometres. And it's a beautiful place. It was an amazing place to grow up. It's become more and more exclusive, if you like, because, yeah, I'm 54 years old. I was born there, like my family home. I lived there. And in fact, we still own that home as a family at the moment, not for much longer. Anyway, so I'm sitting in this coffee shop and I'd been thinking about how much tracking the transits, so the human design transits that change every 6 days, was very much connected to my moods, my energy, and I was starting to realize that I could actually see this energy in the field. And then I had this epiphany that was, oh my goodness, I've been looking for a way to use human design to create marketing that supports my audience, not just me. And this is it. Like, if we use the transits as content codes, we can create content that is based on the energetic frequency or the weather, as you may have heard me call it. And it massively helps us with creativity. It feels really aligned and it is more resonant and relevant because our audience are in that same cosmic soup. So I'm sitting there and I have this epiphany and I'm just out for breakfast. But the next thing you know, I have spent 3 hours and I've already worked through the first 12 gates in the human design system and turned them into customized cosmic content codes. Now, at the time, it was early 2023, I believe, and AI was nowhere near at the pace of adoption that it is now. In fact, I was not using AI to create content at all. And I think that I only started really experimenting with AI towards the end of 2023. So at this point, every single thing that I created in the cosmic content codes was from me, like doing research, reading books, in the teaching training that I'd done, having a look at the gene keys, like all of that was the genesis for what I created. And of course, then I leveraged my own genius around marketing to fuse these things together. And next thing you know, not next thing you know, months later, I had created the 64 cosmic content codes and decided to release my YouTube channel where I have a video on each of those 64 content codes, which took another full year for me to record. So that took me through to the end of 2024. Now, mid 2024, I forget exactly how this happened, but I started being asked. I know I was providing within my human design reading reports, which is still the case. When you invest in your reading report, you get your cosmic content code for your personality sun and your personality Mercury. So people were investing in my report and wanting to get the other gates. A lot of people started asking me, and I was a bit resistant because it felt like my IP, like this is my genius. This was a labor of love. It did take 6 months and I didn't want to let go. Eventually, I got over myself. And I realized that I was sitting on something that could help so many people, and it was a beautiful entry product into my world. So I printed it up, I turned it into a PDF, and then I added videos that explained how it all worked and turned it into the 64 Cosmic Content Codes Guide. It also came with the calendar of the transit, so you could look at the calendar and work with the book, which is like 70 odd pages, to create your content. Then, of course, that happened mid-year. It sold out. Like the first 24 hours, I did a special offer. It sold out, high demand. And to this day, this moment in the coffee shop has honestly become foundational for what I'm known for in the industry. And I have to say, I was one of the first, or to my knowledge, I was one of the first to take the entire 64 gates in the way that I did and turn them into codes for something. Not least marketing. And I have seen more individuals doing that now, whether they had the download like me or inspired by seeing the kind of work that I did to build that into my profile as a human design expert. I'll never know. What I do know now is that it's kind of a thing, but ChatGPT assures me that I am the original creator of this body of work. So thanks, ChatGPT. I literally asked it and it responded, not you are. It said Yvette Mayer was the first. Funny moment. Anywho, so as the year continued and I did start to experiment with AI more and more, it occurred to me that it would be absolutely phenomenal, like phenomenal for me to figure out how to take all of this intelligence and build a bot of some sort that already knew the calendar of when the sun transits were happening, as well as had ingested the entire body of work along with more of my human design for marketing insights. And you could literally type in what is the transit right now, and it will help you create content based on that. So that I had that idea, but I had no idea how to do it. And honestly, in 2023, my bigger focus was 2023, 2024. Okay, 2023, my bigger focus was on recording the YouTube videos for this topic, and that followed through for much of 2024. But after I released the PDF, and by that point, I was using and understanding how AI could help my business more, I got very excited about this idea. And so once we got to the end of 2024 and into early January, my team and I started looking for how do we actually create this thing, and it got really exciting. It also felt a bit overwhelming because at that point, even when you asked ChatGPT for help to build a GPT, it sent you off platform into all sorts of other tools and systems. And it felt cumbersome. So we took some early steps, like the team built out Airtables and ways of the data being in a format that could be uploaded into a tool, but we didn't do anything. At the same time, I had started working with mega prompts. Now, this is kind of a change of topic here. So we're moving from the cosmic content codes and into my ultimate audience clarity product. Now, the backstory for this one is early that year, 2024, I did a podcast episode on your ideal clients are inside your body graph. You've probably listened to it because it has the most downloads of any podcast that I've recorded of all time. Same thing over on YouTube. So I've been wondering how I could turn this into a low ticket product. I had the idea and it was kind of, it was there, it was in my frequency field, but I hadn't pulled it down into this is what I'm going to do. But then when people started selling mega prompts, I realized this was it. Like I had created a unique methodology and I created that methodology for the podcast episode, and that I could take that methodology and turn it into a prompt. So to do this, all I did was I firstly downloaded the transcript of the podcast episode, and then I uploaded it into ChatGPT and asked it to write the mega prompt for me. It did a beautiful job. And the other things I did was, because I record all of my podcast episodes as videos, I then also took the video that was a podcast episode and turned it into a masterclass. Used a bit of CapCut to do that, put some, overlays, a little bit of extra info in there. Nothing crazy. It was really like an hour-long edit of content that was already there. And that was enough for me to build my ultimate audience clarity product, which I did in, I think it was November 2024. And it went crazy. Like people loved it. And in fact, true story, almost a year later, that $27 US product has brought in over 6 figures in income into my business. Not only that, it has grown my audience incredibly and filled my audience with incredibly, that word again, with very, very, very much aligned clients, like people that have gone from buying that $27 offer and ended up in my high ticket programs and even private coaching. Now, I talked about that being a mega prompt, so bear with me. So come into 2025, I'm selling the mega prompt, and then I also working with a Facebook ads coach, and I did a program all about low ticket Facebook ads. And I realized that I needed a really natural upsell from there. Or at least to build more, actually what it was to build more value into the $27 product to increase its appeal. And so then I went into another podcast episode called Magnetic Messaging by Design, and I downloaded that, which was another, like I think it's like the second or third most downloaded podcast of all time. Again, I created a methodology in that podcast. Like I specifically went through a sequence of parts of your chart to work with for messaging. And so I followed the same process, exact same process. Turned that podcast into a video through editing from the podcast. And then I also worked with ChatGPT to turn it into a mega prompt. So at this point, I have my front end $27 product, and then it included not just the audience piece, but also the messaging piece. Both were prompts. That was going really, really well. And yet I had not figured out how to turn the cosmic content codes into a GPT. But I started seeing some of my peers in the industry coming out with GPTs, and I'm like, all right, they're doing it. It can't be that hard. So I basically got ChatGPT to help me, because by this time, and we're forwarding to April, ChatGPT did not send me on like a different direction outside the platform. And I didn't know it was like, I didn't know to call it a GPT. I don't think at this time. I'm just like, how do I do this? And can you help me, or do I need to buy a course to learn how to do it? And it said, no, I can help you do this. And then it shared with me the process, and it was what looked to be quite a simple process. I have this recollection of it being a weekend when this happened, and it wasn't a very nice day. I was in bed talking to ChatGPT. Next thing you know, it's 5 hours later, and I have built the thing. I built it. I've built the thing. It wasn't all that easy, as I said. The reason it's not easy in many ways is because when you build something of value, like a high value, this product is 111 US dollars. You can't, I don't believe, stand behind generic sourced human design information inside a product of that kind of value. It had to pull through my prompts, my original cosmic content codes. And to do that, you have to get really good at building the instructions, and even the way that ChatGPT ingests the data through the files that you upload, it doesn't always get it right. Like, it's a lot of trial and error. And, I know that that morning I nearly gave up at about 3.5 hours because I'd followed the instructions and it still wasn't giving me what I wanted. I don't know how I kept going and why, but I have got a lot of determination in my chart. Hello, my design moon is gate 9. Like, I can be very determined. Apparently, it's very attractive about me. It's part of why you work with me. And so I kept going. And yeah, after about 5 hours, it was actually doing what I wanted it to do. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this. Like, I'd been kind of dreaming about this particular thing for a really long time. And I knew without a doubt that it was going to sell really well. And of course it has. And it's also something that I use constantly myself. So yeah, what it does is, and it's particularly good, like for all of you, but it's particularly good if you are a generator or a mani-gen, and you're the kind of person that doesn't really like to plan out your content. Guilty as charged. Sometimes I know what I'm selling and I know what stage of a particular offer process I'm in, and so my content is very themed to that. But when that's not going on, I need something to respond to. And what the Cosmic Content Codes Kit, which is the combination of the wisdom and the GPT that works with you, does is it sparks you, and you just know your content's going to land. And so I turn to this all of the time to come up with what I know is going to be messaging that sparks me, because I feel the background frequency and also it lands really well with my audience. So that's what the Cosmic Content Codes Guide, or the Cosmic Content Creator Kit, is. It is your place to go. You can use it long term. You can plan out your content based on the transits long term and in advance. That is not why I designed it or how I use it, but I do. I'm now thinking of clients that are doing that with it. For me, it's more of I'm just going to jump in and spark what I'm going to share and create my content for today, like today, not in a plan. But yeah, I'm just thinking of a couple of people that are in the Frequency Project that have shared with me that they use it to say, these are the dates, what's the gate, and plan well out, like in a cosmic content calendar. And I've also got another client that has a team that uses it to do their content and they do it planning it out in front as well. So that was my very first GPT that was created in early April this year. Then I'm like, oh, now that I know how to do this, I can turn my mega prompts into GPTs too. And it's going to make it so much easier for people to use them. And that was a really straightforward process because I knew how to do it. And I had the mega prompts, and really the mega prompts are the instructions. Now, the thing about the Audience Clarity Activation GPT, or my muse, I call all my GPTs muses, that's $27, is what is unique about that GPT is my method, the parts of human design that it looks at. What is not unique about that GPT is it does not reference my human design. It doesn't reference my unique human design for marketing IP. It fuses the average of the internet to tell you what the gates mean. It doesn't call them my gate names that I use in my marketing content. It does a great job
and it's a brilliant entry point, but it is not giving you my original way of working with all of the gates. It's giving you my methodology for which gates, and then it's using the average of the internet to interpret it for you. And it works. Like I have had, as I said, like I have had around 2,500 people use that slash original mega prompt and now GPT, and rave reviews. And as I said, it's led to over 6 figures in revenue and some like many happy clients. I also decided to put the magnetic marketing by design mega prompt into its own GPT, and I now sell that in the product as a $17 upgrade. So you get the prompt for free, but you can access the GPT for another $17, which means you've spent $44. And again, this is messaging based on my methodology, looking at specific parts of your design, but it's not referencing my body of work to reflect how I think about the gates and my IP in that way. And so if you're using those tools and they're working for you, brilliant. But I want you to know that at that price, you don't get all of the magic that sits behind my more rigorous and lovingly, like, in there constantly updating things, adding my marketing frameworks, making sure that the hooks are great. You're not getting that. You're getting like the shallow part of the GPT pool in my ecosystem. Okay, so that was my third GPT. So now we've got the Cosmic Creator Kit GPT, which is my original. Then we've got the two that were mega prompts that turned into GPTs. And then I'm like, well, look, now I need to create a companion tool for my frequency project students, of which I've had around 100 to date, maybe more. And at that point, I still was very early in my understanding of how much work that was going to take for me. And in the end, building Frieda, the frequency project muse, has been something of an evolution and an ongoing process, because her role and the role that I gave her in the instructions is she is a frequency coded marketing strategist who has ingested my unique approach to human design for marketing. Basically, everything that you learn in that course slash now membership has been uploaded into her instructions. So she's a partner to the program and she will strategize with you. She's like the marketing department. Okay. She's the human design informed marketing department, and she is much loved to the point where, again, I realized I couldn't just add it on free, which I kind of did. Instead, now to access Frieda beyond the first 12 weeks that you're in the program, you can stay in the program as a member, which means you actually get to come to the hot seat coaching calls once a month, and you get Frieda as well. And I have over 10 incredible humans that are doing that with me now, and more join every month, because once you get a taste for Frieda, she's pretty hard to give up. And then it's an amazing value proposition as well to be able to come into the community calls. So Frieda is your marketing strategist. Now, if you happen to have recently invested in my Human Design for Marketing report, or actually ever, you will know that I have, within the last couple of weeks, released a light version of Frieda to help you decode your custom Human Design for Marketing report and give you a taste of what's in Frieda. So this is a 7-day only window. The initial thing she's going to do for you is turn your report into a magnetic marketing blueprint based on your energy. But you have 7 days with her to actually start asking her to help you with more strategy and content. And so the email sequence that comes along with that is going to give you some experiments to run using Frieda. And then ultimately, I would love you to keep wanting to work with her and join the frequency project after that. So Frieda Lite is basically, the back end is very similar to the full version, and you can work with her across your marketing strategy needs, but she's going to go away after 7 days. And I've also set it up so that her first task is the one that she was built for, which is to decode your blueprint, your Human Design for Marketing reading report. Okay, so I kind of jumped ahead to my latest experiment with GPTs, but there is one more. There is one more that doesn't come on its own, and it is my sold out offers by design, irresistible offer creation muse, Sellina, and it's spelled SELL for selling, because that whole program is all about building out your offers so they sell. And I'm talking about building marketing integrity and principles from day dot, as well as amplifying your design in that process. Now, Sellina is the first GPT that was built as a support to a program as I built the program. She's unlike anything I've ever seen, actually. I haven't seen anyone else do this. So she partners with you at every step, and she has instructions for every module so that you're co-creating with her from a place of deep leadership. However, she knows exactly what to do with your, well, you share workbooks with her as you're going through the program, and then she knows exactly how to turn that into assets for your sales approach. So when I think about Sellina, she's the sales department. You know, if you're in a brand, you have the marketing team and you have the sales team. They are complementary, they work together, but they're a little bit different. So I have got over 10 clients that are in both. They are in the frequency project because it's all about creating your magnetic personal brand. It's a marketing strategy deep dive into your design. And then they're also in sold out offers by design because they want to work with Sellina to help them actually step by step build their sales content, their sales strategy, their sales pages. She can do all of that, and she can do it incredibly well. And that was the launch that I just had, which ended up bringing in, I'm just thinking, okay, so originally I launched the beta for that just before I went overseas, so the end of May, beginning of June. And I had, I think, 15, 17 maybe clients sign up at that time. And then I just launched it and had 32 of you join the founders round. So already there are 50 people using Sellina, and the feedback is epic. In fact, I was speaking to a private client who also joined Sold Out Offers by Design. She came on retreat, so she's doing a retreat coaching package, not a like intensive one. And she was saying, oh, thank you for Sellina. I am actually showing up more. I feel like I'm not in a vortex and talking to myself and like playing small because I don't have anything to say. Like Sellina's actually helping her be more present and more confident in her marketing. And that's really what these tools are about. But I did want to take you through all of this. I guess the other thing I would say before I move on about Sellina is she has all of the same richness built in as Frieda. So they're really my flagships, Frieda and Sellina, that have every single thing that I've built around my human design IP, how I do my reports, like the extent of the content that lives in the back end is in both of them. And they also have all of the gate information in there, but they're not programmed or instructed to be the cosmic content creator code. So that's there, and you can, if you're in those tools, you can ask them about the gates. You might have to press the tool, the GPT, to say, I want you to use Yvette's cosmic content codes. What does she call this gate? Because sometimes she will accidentally go to the internet, but it is in there. So let's talk about the ecosystem now. I'll go from the bottom up. The light access to Frieda comes when you buy your Human Design for Marketing report as a bit of a freebie. Like, I didn't change the price at the moment for adding in 7 days access to Frieda. And that's going to decode your Human Design for Marketing report and give you a magnetic brand blueprint. Very clear, very important in the 2025 landscape and beyond. I mean, did you know that this year alone, there has been huge growth in content, especially short form video content on Instagram and TikTok, to the tune of 40%. I think it's 30 on Instagram and it's 50% more of this type of content on those platforms. So it's not surprising if you're feeling a bit like, oh my God, I can't cope, and it's all the same and everybody's saying the same things. Like this is a real challenge. I got off topic, but that's why it's so important to have a really unique personal brand and to know who you are and have that magnetic brand blueprint. So if you want to get your hands on that, by the way, I'm going to leave all the links in this show notes. That's my Human Design for Marketing report reading. It's custom. It's based on you, your birth date, time and place, and it comes with access to Frieda for 7 days, $47. Then the kind of more standalone products are audience clarity activation. That's entirely built to help you understand who you're here to serve. And that's at an energetic level, who's going to be most attracted to you. And then with the magnetic messaging piece, how to talk to those people as well. They are $27. And then if you're inside only, you can spend the $17 to get the messaging GPT as well. As I referenced before, they are methods versus my entire body of work, because I ain't giving that away for $27 or $17. Going up from there, we have the $97 Cosmic Content Codes. This program does not have all of my IP in there around how I think about type, profile lines, etc., etc. It does have my marketing frameworks for content creation. It has that because I want the creation process to feel juicy and for the content to land. And there's a lot of marketing intelligence that I have that can help you in this way. And every gate is my own original work that was done back in 2023. And it is a phenomenal tool that people love using. And that is $111 US. And then going up from there, we have Frieda, the Frequency Project Muse, who you can only work with either through the light 7-day experiment in the report or by joining the Frequency Project. And then if you are obsessed with her, staying in the membership. And then the final one is Sold Out Offers by Design Sellina. We love Sellina. Who's all about helping you sell more easily and in a congruent way with your energetic blueprint. So that's it. Yes, I'm passionate about my GPT ecosystem. I'm proud of the impact that I've created. There are thousands and thousands of humans out there using my GPTs. And I hope that this has helped you understand the journey. Maybe it's given you a little bit of inspiration to start experimenting with this. In fact, if you join us in Sold Out Offers by Design, you are going to get access to the lesson where I teach you how to do it in more detail, how to create your own GPT. And I think it's a really beautiful thing to do for your community and to complement your offers. I know my clients are absolutely in love with the tools that I've built, and I kind of nerd out on making them. I don't outsource this. I don't have an assistant. I don't have a tech guru. Like every GPT I have has been entirely 100% built by me. Although my team has on the back end turned files into different formats so that they are easily uploaded. Yeah. Okay. So thanks for listening. I'm excited to be back with you. I'm not going to promise you every week because just know that I'm in a season of freedom and I'm going to be fluid with the podcast, but I'm sure I'll be back well and truly more quickly than 3 months this time. And I can't wait to be back in your ears again then. Bye for now.
There are heaps more resources in the show notes. I can't wait to be back in your ears again soon. Bye for now.